Welcome to Tech Talk Thursday. It's season 3, episode 10. Carol Hung is CEO of Hong Kong-based Seasons Group with factories in China, Malaysia, Mexico, and United States. Carol recently returned from visiting his factory in China and observed how technology and the pace of change is changing in the East. That's our topic today. Now let's welcome Carol Hung. Welcome, Carol. Nice to see you today.
Nice seeing you too, Trevor. Glad to be back.
Okay. Glad to have you back, actually. So you recently posted a message on LinkedIn about your experience traveling back from China to Hong Kong. How has it changed over the past 18 months?
Yeah, so prior to the whole pandemic, I would do weekly trips over from Hong Kong to China. And I'm sad to say that every single time I'm coming back from China into Hong Kong, I always actually felt a sense of relief where I was returning to civilization in a sense, because immediately you see a big difference stepping across the border. But this time around, it was a very eerie feeling where it wasn't that case. It was the other way around where I felt like I was leaving civilization in a sense. Because over the past 16 months in China, during this pandemic, the country has continued to prosper, where they've not only conquered the pandemic in a sense, but they've thrived through it. Whereas in Hong Kong, we're still under pandemic control, social distance measures, and the economy is suffering here. So the technology throughout this year, the adaptation of it has increased in China.
So what do you think is driving that then? I mean, do you think it's becoming more of a data-driven economy because of some of the systems that are put in place to deal with the coronavirus?
Well, there's several levels of what's driving this technology. First off, the coronavirus itself, like you said, has caused a massive uptick in automation in China. It's all about the robotics right now in China, where you go to a restaurant, it's automated, fully automated, whether it's robots bringing food to your table or actually ordering food, where I made a silly request one day. I raised my hand to ask for a server to come and help me take my order, and they just looked at me silly and says, use your phone. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Scan your QR code, order it on WeChat, and then pay for it on WeChat, and they bring the phone to you. So they've eliminated the actual face-to-face contact completely because of COVID, but also because of the fact that there's actually not enough labor around in China. So everything over here is about automation right now, whereby whether it's robotics in manufacturing or robotics in the restaurant or catering industries or even hotel hospitality, they're moving very quickly towards the automation aspect of things.
Right. Okay. But I mean, they also, I guess, can gather a lot of information on their people. I mean, there are, and China's not alone in doing this. I mean, there's countries like Taiwan, for example, who lead the world in how they dealt with the pandemic. And then you've even got Africa there, which has had remarkably low cases. But again, because they're data-driven and they've got very strict track and trace capabilities.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you think, that is a differentiator in a way? Because, over here in the West, we've really struggled with it. I mean, the UK government threw 20 billion at creating an app, which really didn't work particularly well. And I think in the United States, there just wasn't the will to want to give up that amount of liberty, as it were.
Yeah, I think for sure, the people in the East are more willing to trust in the government and organizations in a sense where giving up data is not as taboo as in the West, where I recently signed up for an app that does carpooling in China. And to protect the drivers and the passengers, you have to verify your identity. So you have to provide them with your ID card and your passport number and your credit card numbers. Whereas I think if you use Uber or other apps, all you need is a credit card number. So it could very well be that whoever's taking that Uber ride isn't the actual passenger. So for the sake of safety, everyone's willing to give up these critical information. And because I think scale has something to do as well too. Like China has 1.4 billion people, most of them on WeChat. Security system on WeChat is much more reliable than a lot of other apps where they might not have the scale to put up as much protective measure of people's data.
Right. Right, right. So what other benefits do you get, from, having a data-driven society like this?
Benefits, wow. Well, as I wrote in my LinkedIn post, I didn't have to carry cash for a long time. I think in China, they're already moving towards that road. You don't have to even carry your phone very soon. All of it will be facial recognition driven. So it's going to get to a point where for us, things will be really easy. And what that means is there'll be more consumption. I think I've never used Taobao, Alibaba before. I've never used WeChat payment before, but ever since I learned how to use these two apps, I've been buying things a lot more. My spending behavior has increased considerably. And because I'm buying digitally, they're referring more similar products that I like. So I'm buying even more. So it becomes a very vicious cycle where previously, if you walk into a Walmart, you'll buy something, but no one's going to know about it. But on the internet, you buy something, it's there forever, and they'll remember exactly what you like and when you buy it.
Yeah, so the parametric advertising people are having a field day.
Field day, and
yeah. So do you think we're moving towards a world then that's going to be where we're no longer going to have cash? Everything's going to be digital transactions.
I definitely think that's the case. So China's got a huge fintech environment. Africa similarly as well. Most of Asia is very heavily fintech driven, where I think everyone's moving towards that route. I think for us, the lack of the infrastructure in the first place. China, previously, I was told never to use a credit card because when I was in China previously, they're saying, oh, there's a lot of fraud going on. People take your credit card numbers and then use it elsewhere. So don't use a credit card, carry cash with you. So it's all $100 bills, renminbi wise. So for you to go for dinner, you need a whole wad of renminbis to walk around. But now it's all on a cell phone because we never had the credit card. So we skipped that completely and went straight to a cell phone. In Hong Kong, we have a bit of a lag there because we have a very sophisticated trust system. So credit cards are very abundant. We have also the Octopus card for payments as well too. So I think people need to skip up. The companies have to offer more incentives to increase the adaptation rate, and then eventually the cell phone will be replacing credit cards and the MTR Octopus card as well too. But over in the West, I think people are quite. They have the cash, which is in the US you always give tips with cash, but credit card it's very reliable as well too. So how do people actually skip that? I think COVID might help because people might not want to give a physical card to someone and to do a card swipe and give it back because of the germs aspect of things. So it might skip straight to a credit card payment using Google Pay or Apple Pay. But eventually I think it should all be moving towards a cell phone because the cell phone itself has the biometric detection on there, whether it's facial recognition or a fingerprint. So it's a very good two-factor authentication already.
Try first. Don't just say, I can't. Try and find a way to do it.
We will exceed your expectations.
Nice to meet you. We are Omron.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, the pandemic has definitely changed our behavior in as much that you don't want to use cash. I mean, I bought something with cash yesterday for the very first time since the pandemic started,
Yeah,
frankly. I mean,
yeah.
it's quite incredible. But, without getting into the politics of all this, is this where the real demarcation line is going to come? That these countries that are more data driven, and obviously holding more data about you, are going to be able to offer longer, healthier lives, if you like, and better conditions and safer conditions than others. Is that, and the others, of course, being in the West here, where they value their freedom in some respect. Is that going to be the trade-off? Is that going to be the demarcation line going forward?
Yeah, definitely. I think there has to be a trade-off. You can't have the best of both worlds. Where over here, I think first off, in the East, we've always had a healthier, longer lifespan because of how we eat in the first place. So that made a big difference. But also, the healthcare system here has been a lot more suitable for our health styles, and coupled with the fact that everything is digitized as well too. So we are able to trace our health records, our vaccination records a lot better. Whereas other countries, rightly so, they respect their privacy. So there won't be that link, and you can't, if you don't have that data to analyze the effect of certain population movements or certain vaccination movements, you're not going to be able to come up with a proper solution.
Yeah.
Where over here in Asia, we can lock down a city or lock down a town very quickly and know exactly who's coming in, who's going out very easily. In the West, you can never do that. And there's good and bad between both situations.
Yeah. I mean, in the West here, I mean, it's difficult. Even health authorities don't share information with other health authorities. It's a very kind of disjointed world at the moment. But anyway, while I've got you here, Carl, I want to just turn my attention to Seasons Group and your trip over to China. How are things going? Because you've got plants, as I said, all over the world. What is happening within Seasons Group in terms of manufacturing output?
Well, first off, Trevor, I want to correct you in your initial statement. It's United Kingdom, not United States, where we have the facility now. Okay. So we're over in Southampton, United Kingdom. So fellow Brits, hello there. So overall wise, I think there's been a massive rebound in the economy that we're seeing right now, where our book-to-bill ratio has never been healthier. We're seeing most of our work is export based, so it's not for the domestic China consumption. I think the number would be a lot even higher if we were doing more domestic consumption sales. But the work is there. I think the major issue that we're facing in China and Malaysia right now, it's the lack of workforce. In Asia, where there's several billion people, we're having issue hiring. So it's hard to fathom that issue.
So are you building more automation into your factory then?
Yeah, that's what we're seeing as a result of the COVID automation. Everyone's pushing for it, and the cost of automation has gone down considerably, and the cost of labor has gone up. So actually, the return on investment, what used to be a 4-year ROI, you're talking right now about 1 year. Your money's there. So wow.
That's on what, a regular robot you're talking about that they're replacing?
Regular robot for injection molding machine, a picker that flips and then just moving. ROI 1 year's time.
Wow, that's incredible. So I guess the other area that's changed a lot in the last year has been on the supply chain side, freight costs and things like that. How has that impacted you?
Considerably. I think everyone's feeling it. What was it? Tomato ketchup was in short supply in the US. I think potato fries from McDonald's was in short supply. All the freight carriers, there's a lack of it. With COVID, there's a restriction of movement. The Suez Canal blockage didn't help. The Long Beach situation didn't help either. And also with COVID restrictions on flying, all the cargo freights has the pricing have increased considerably. So as a result of that, freight costs have almost doubled this year for many companies that we know. Similarly, with supply chain wise, you're seeing across the board price increases from PCBs to plastics to ICs, resistors, all of that. It's all hitting at the same time.
What about the chip shortage? Have you been affected by that?
Chip shortage for sure, where for certain components, because chips are the ones that you can't necessarily alternative source. You can't design in a IC. So you have to design it out completely. So we're making use of our design services now and helping our customers design in new ICs to replace either obsolete or really long lead time ones. So that's so far the only way around this current issue. You can place extended POs out, but what we know is that a lot of suppliers, they're canceling POs on manufacturers as well too. They just don't have the supply. They're giving it only to the key OEMs right now.
Right. Wow. So a lot of challenges there, but also a lot of opportunity, I guess. But Carol, I mean, it's always great to catch up with you. So, you know, when will you be able to travel? Do you think when will you be visiting your UK facility next?
Wow. That's a question that my wife asks me all the time because she wants to go on holidays soon. It's a year and a half of no holidays, but I think right now, probably this year will be too early. All cities right now, they're talking about vaccination passports. But again, I don't know how receptive the West would be towards a vaccination passport. I understand it would be an invasion of privacy. In Asia,
well, they announced today that in the UK they're going to build it into the passport. Your COVID vaccination will be built into the chip on your passport.
Okay, that would be great, as long as they're open to that. But over in Asia, I think we're quite receptive of that, to have a vaccination passport, depending on how it's rolled out. So once you have the vaccination passport, then it goes into the other area, which vaccination do you accept? So do they accept the Russian or the Chinese vaccination? That's another matter for itself. So I'm not planning on much travel this year, aside from maybe returning back up to China later on next month.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we want you to stay safe and healthy, and I want to thank you for giving us your input today and showing us some of the big changes that are happening over in Asia at the moment.
It's been a pleasure, Trevor.
How low can you go?
Low temperature solders enables manufacturers to lower reflow profiles, improve quality and reduce operating costs. Learn about the latest materials and processes, network with your peers and improve your knowledge around this important topic. LTS 2021 on June 16th comprises 14 sessions, a keynote by Tadashi Kasuga from Lenovo and an optional workshop on day 2 by Bob Willis. Register today.